Hello and welcome to Ask a Sex Therapist, a space where we explore sexuality, intimacy, relationships, and sexual well-being with curiosity, compassion, and evidence-based understanding. I'm Justine Gilliland, a sex therapist and counselor, and in today's episode, we're exploring the question, why can't I get or keep an erection? Erectile dysfunction, or ED, is the most common male sexual dysfunction as men age. By their 40s, approximately 40% of men experience some degree of erectile difficulty, and this only increases with age. Occasional or transient erection difficulties happen to nearly all penises, with more than 90% of men reporting at least one instance of erection loss by the age of 40. This is a normal part of bodily function and not necessarily a sign of ED. Despite how common ED is, it is also one of the most feared symptoms among males. Erectile difficulties can impact self esteem, confidence, relationships, and overall quality of life. Today, I'm going to explore what ED actually is, the common causes for it, myths that fuel shame and misunderstanding around ED, and how sex therapy can help. So, what is erectile dysfunction? ED is when there is a consistent inability to achieve or maintain an erection firm enough for sexual intercourse. From a clinical perspective, this difficulty must occur in approximately 75 to 100% of sexual encounters, persist for at least 3 to 6 months, and cause distress for the individual or couple. This may involve significant difficulty achieving an erection, difficulty maintaining an erection, or a noticeable decrease in erection firmness. ED can occur in all situations or only in certain situations or contexts. Because of the fear, embarrassment, and anxiety associated with erection difficulties, ED can often lead to sexual avoidance, meaning that a person may withdraw from sexual intimacy altogether. So, what causes ED? Erectile dysfunction is rarely caused by a single factor. Instead, it is often an interplay between biological, psychological, relational, and lifestyle influences. The biological causes include age related hormonal changes, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, high blood pressure, neurological conditions, medication side effects, and pelvic surgeries. Because erections rely heavily on healthy blood flow, erectile difficulties can sometimes act as an early warning sign for broader health issues. The psychological causes of ED are significant, and this is one of the most immediate causes of erectile difficulty, especially in younger individuals. That is performance anxiety, the fear about getting or maintaining an erection can itself interfere with erections. Other psychological contributors include negative sexual thoughts, constantly monitoring performance during sex, again, emphasizing performance anxiety, general anxiety or depression, low self esteem, body image concerns, and a past history of sexual trauma. There are also relational causes for ED. There can be dynamics which impact on erectile function, such as unresolved conflict, resentment, power struggles, pressure around sex, or a partner's own sexual difficulties. Lifestyle and societal factors that contribute to ED include smoking, excessive alcohol use, recreational drugs, chronic stress, and work pressure. All of these elements can affect erectile function. Cultural expectations around men needing to be constantly ready for sex also contribute heavily to performance anxiety and shame. So, what are the myths about ED? One of the biggest contributors to distress around ED are the myths people internalize about erections and typically masculinity. Myth number one: ED means I'm less of a man. Erectile dysfunction is not a sign of personal deficiency or failure. The idea that masculinity and self worth are tied to erectile function is a cultural myth. ED is extremely common and often reflects treatable physical, psychological, or relational challenges. Myth 2: ED is entirely physical or entirely psychological. ED is often an intricate interaction between biology, psychology, and relationships. Even when biology contributes to the initial onset of ED, psychological and relational factors can maintain the difficulty over time. Myth 3: I should stay erect from beginning to end. Even in people without ED, erections naturally fluctuate. They can come and go during sexual activity, especially during prolonged sex or with age. Often, the fear of this normal fluctuation is what increases anxiety and contributes to chronic erectile difficulties. Myth 4: if I don't have an erection, there is no point to sex. Thankfully, there is far more to sexual intimacy than penetration. A satisfying sexual relationship involves touch, sensuality, emotional connection, pleasure, and intimacy. A penis does not need to be erect to experience pleasure. Myth number 5: Viagra will cure me. Medications such as Viagra and Cialis can be very effective, but they are not magic pills. They support the biological component of erections, but they do not address anxiety, shame, pressure, relationship dynamics, or sexual communication. So, how does erectile dysfunction affect relationships? ED can have a profound emotional and relational impact. Emotionally, individuals may experience shame, anxiety, frustration, depression, and reduced sexual confidence. Relationally, erectile difficulties can create cycles of pressure and avoidance. Out of fear of losing an erection, some individuals begin rushing intercourse, which can increase anxiety and even contribute to premature ejaculation. Others begin avoiding sexual intimacy altogether to protect themselves from feelings of failure. This often leaves partners feeling rejected, unattractive, confused, or disconnected. Over time, sexual intimacy can shrink until sex becomes narrowly focused on erection and penetration rather than connection and pleasure. The majority of couples experience sexual problems at some point in their relationship. This is often a normal part of life rather than something shameful. At the same time, learning to work together as a sexual team is essential for nurturing pleasure, arousal, and intimacy. So, here are some practical steps you can try out first. If you are experiencing ED or erection difficulties, one of the most important first steps is to speak with your GP. This is especially important because ED can sometimes reflect underlying health issues that need medical attention. Another important shift is moving away from performance-focused sex. Rather than focusing on erection, penetration, or orgasm as the goal, begin exploring sensual connection, touch, pleasure, and emotional intimacy. Ask yourself, what feels good right now? What do I want to continue feeling? Broadening your sexual repertoire beyond penetration can reduce pressure and support more satisfying intimacy overall. So, how can sex therapy help with ED? Sex therapy provides a safe, confidential space to discuss sexual concerns openly. In therapy, we explore the emotional and relational impacts of ED, performance anxiety, avoidance patterns, sexual myths, and communication difficulties. We also work on practical skills that reduce pressure and support more relaxed and connected sexual experiences. When couples are involved, therapy helps partners move away from blame and toward understanding and teamwork. My final thoughts on ED is that it is a common human experience, especially as male bodies age. Experiencing ED does not mean something is wrong with you as a person. ED is often highly treatable, especially when biological, psychological, and relational factors are addressed together. If you feel embarrassed or ashamed, you are not alone in this experience. Seeking support early can prevent anxiety and avoidance from spiraling and impacting both your sexual well-being and your relationship. Thank you for listening to Ask a Sex Therapist. This podcast is a space where I'll be exploring common questions and themes that arise in my work around sexuality, intimacy, relationships, and sexual well-being. Topics that many people quietly struggle with, but rarely talk about openly. If you'd like to learn more, explore related blogs, or inquire about online sex therapy across Australia, you can visit my website at wellbeingcounsellor.com.au. You can also subscribe for future conversations about sexuality, intimacy, relationships, and emotional well-being.